Well, I failed.
How you feel, Mitchell?
I feel good. I'm excited. I think the dark bit will be fun. To like run for that long in the dark, but earlier on.
100K runners, please make your way down to the start line.
Okay. I'm just gonna give you my jacket and I'll tuck it up with the last. Hey, how's it going? How are you?
100K runners, please make your way behind the start line arch. Let's go, let's go.
So I ran the Sean O'Brien 100K, or at least lined up for the Sean O'Brien 100K last weekend, and it was the first time in any ultramarathon that I've ever not finished the race. I actually dropped out at mile 49. I'll kind of talk about how the race went, and then I'll get into what factors led to that decision and the aftermath of all that. But anyway, the race started out fine. Starts at 5 a.m., so it's entirely in the dark. And then everything was good for a while. The only thing that was bothering me was my Achilles a little bit. Of course, as the sun came up, it actually got quite warm. We found out later that it had gotten up to the 90s on parts of the course. But it was okay until about mile 22, 23. There's about a 9-mile section between aid stations with about 2,500 feet of net gain. So that was really a tough section. I had to carry a bunch of water. I had 2 flasks up front and a handheld, which was, quite a bit at the time. The whole race I ran with 2 flasks in the front of my Camelback Ultra Pro vest. And that was okay. I got out of that section. It was definitely warm, but everything was fine. And then kept running. Things were hurting. I switched from my Columbia Montrail Bahada 3 shoes to the Hoka One One Nepali, which is essentially the Clifton 3. It's pretty much the same as the Clifton 3. Everything was good. It hurt about as much as you'd expect for mile 30. It was really warm, but we knew that going into the race. And then mile 42 is where everything sort of kind of came down. I was at that aid station and I think I put down a little too much food. And there's about a 7-mile section to mile 49, which actually the course is the same as the 50-mile course until mile 42. And then at mile 42, the 50-mile course goes straight downhill, about 1,500 feet downhill to the finish. And the 100K course goes a different direction, also downhill about 1,500 feet, vertical feet, to the finish, but from a different direction. And then when you get there, you turn around and you go back up to where you were and then continue the way the 50-milers finished. So I was at that aid station. I think I put down a little too much food. And then because I did that, I didn't take anything out of the aid station. And so I was really nauseous and I was walking at first. I thought I'd walk until that subsided. And it just didn't really subside. So I walked that entire 7-mile section, 6.5, 7-mile section. And I had no food on me. In fact, I'd gotten sick of the tailwind I was drinking for a while. So I had water on me as well, nothing besides that. So for a little over 2 hours, I didn't take in any calories and I was nauseous and obviously cramping really badly. I had to sit down a couple times next to the trail. And then I got to mile 49 and there was just no way I was going to get back up the hill, up the 1,500 feet climb. And it was a convenient place to drop, so I dropped. At the time I couldn't think of doing anything else. I knew I was going to drop as soon as I got there. Of course, now that the race is over, it's easy to tell yourself you wish you would have done. I think I made the right call because honestly, I'm not sure I would have been able to go back up that hill at 1 mile per hour, let alone like 2 or 3, which is what I needed to make the cutoffs. But yeah, it's I'll be honest, it sucks to think about how excited you were for these races, for this race, and to not get it done. You're looking back on your training logs and you're thinking, oh yeah, 1 week to go and all that, and then you get there and you don't do it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. I was talking to a friend the other day who reminded me that Western States is the goal and not Sean O'Brien, and if I'd have pushed on, I might have passed out or whatever, or had some serious injury, and that would have been bad. So I think I did make the right call. It just, yeah, it's undeniably a bummer. As for what went wrong, and what I think I'd like to change, there's a couple of things. From a training perspective, I think I would like to do longer long runs. My longest run going into Sean O'Brien was only about 3 hours. And I think I've been training a little bit too much like a road runner. The 3 hour long run I did was a mountainous run, but I think it'd be better to slow down a little bit and just spend 5 or 6 hours running or hiking around in the mountains in training, so that when you get to 5-6 hours during the race, you've been there before. So that's something I'd like to change. And then as far as during the race, I think my nutrition plan was far too lackadaisical, if that's a real word. Not really sure. But I didn't really have a plan other than having tailwind in my bottles, and even that fell out. That went out the window at mile 40 when I was sick of it. I just put water in my bottles, but my plan pretty much was just to drink tailwind and then eat food at aid stations and maybe eat gels in between if I felt like grabbing a couple. But yeah, I mean, it led to some carelessness, like leaving that mile 43 aid station, I had nothing, and that was dumb. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, it makes sense that at mile 45, if you go over 2 hours without eating anything, you're gonna have issues. So yeah, I think in the future, I'll try to stick to gels a little bit more, or at least, you need a consistent source of calories and not just like, I'll eat whatever I feel like eating at the aid station, because, you're not always going to feel like eating anything. You kind of just have to force things down to some extent. So that's something I need to change. Like I said, next time, I think I'll just carry a bunch of gels on me and then just plan on eating 2 gels per hour in addition to the drink mix, and then maybe like some potatoes at the aid stations or something like that. But yeah, I didn't do that this time. I just ate whenever I felt like it, and sometimes that was nothing and it didn't work out. Sometimes I ate too much and I got nauseous, and then other times I didn't bring any food and couldn't run at all. So that's pretty much what went down this weekend. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could report back with good news. Yeah, like I said, it kind of sucks, but like I said, Western States is the goal. Going out from here, plan is to, really put in some long runs and recognize that I'm training for a 100-mile race now. It's a really long way, and the people that are able to hold up the most at the end are the people that are going to do well, not so much the speedsters out there. So that's the plan. I'll start doing some runs and hopefully taking my camera along to document the journey. So thanks so much for watching this video. I'm sorry I took so long with the recap video. Pretty much got back to school and had to start worrying about midterms. In fact, as I'm filming this, I took a break from studying for vector calculus, and I kind of have to get back to that. So I'm not sure when I'm going to put this video out. But I digress. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.